Well, hi and welcome to my shop. Thanks so much for joining me while I start work on this radio, an Admiral radio. So I got this radio as part of a group of radios I bought for one price, and this was in there. Not sure I would go out and try to find something like this myself. What's going on with this thing? Big long antenna sticking out of it. So it looks like this would have been a clock radio in some models, but not this one. Well, radio, what's it say? This thing that says radio squeals, I think is what it says. Radio, I don't know what that it says the same thing. SQU something, radio something, I don't know what. Let's see if we can get these off. Stickers like this, sometimes, this is easy. Sometimes it becomes a real problem getting them off. There we are. It's like twice as good already. Great. So, you know, I could plug this in. I was told all the radios I bought were working. As I'm working my way through them, repairing them. Not really the case, I don't think. The case has a lot of cracks in it here that have got dirt in the cracks, so I don't know if I can clean that out or make it disappear. It's had some kind of sticker on it here. Let's just look at the cabinet. Often these cabinets crack right along here. This one isn't. It's got two different kinds of screws holding the radio in. Hey, look at that. Admiral, model number Y846, chassis 5A5. 117 volts, 50 or 60 cycles, or DC. Not that anybody has DC. At the time this was made, I don't think there was anybody getting DC served to them from their power company. 30 watts, that's a little more than what I would have thought. 455. When ordering parts, specify the model and chassis number. This apparatus uses inventions of the United States patents licensed by RCA and Hazeltine. Chicago 47. So this was made in the States, but probably sold up here. Probably sold up here. It's just two screws holding it together. Okay. Let's get them out of there. No, that's not a crack. I was going to say you can see a crack along there, but it's not a crack. Watched a very interesting video about the Phillips screwdriver. No, the Robertson screwdriver. I mentioned this before because I'm Canadian. We have a different screw and screwdriver system in Canada from just about everywhere else in the world. So you've probably seen me numerous times whip out screwdrivers if you're not Canadian. I mean, that's got a square head on it. That's how most screws are in Canada. They're mostly the square head screw. Great for woodworking. And anyway, I watched an interesting video on it. Come on off. Ah, there we go. Look at that dirt in there. Now, what's going on here? Is this all one big knob? Ooh, 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 ooh. So that's probably a sign that the capacitor behind this is grommeted onto some kind of chassis or something, and the grommets have given out. And that's where that comes from. That's my guess. This should just come off. Yep. Good. And now the radio should pretty much, I guess it goes out the front. I guess it'll just separate from here. I guess it comes out the front. Separate, baby. Wait a minute, this is just a little bit tricky here. So there's something I can push on there. Yikes. Always a trick, always a trick. Nah, that's not going to work. How do you get the radio out? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sit on the floor here, put this thing between, I'm going to let you watch what I'm going to do. Why not? Let's see if this even works. That worked. That's my exercise for the day, too. There we are. Here it comes. There it is. Scary radio that it is. Why would I say this radio is scary? Because it's not scary. It probably has. Do you believe this long wire is hooked up to the frame of the capacitor? I'm just going to nip it off there. I'll leave a little bit so we don't forget where it was. I'm just going to cut it. That's an odd thing. What is somebody doing there? So the rest of the cabinet looks like a cabinet. Don't really see anything. Just want to check the corners. Oh, they're good. Okay. Put him aside. And let's take a look at what we got here now. What have we got? Oh my gosh, is it cracked? The whole board is moving. What's the story on that? Sometimes when you slide these into the cabinet, these edges are supposed to go into fittings. There's nothing in here. Is there? There's nothing in here. There's nothing. A couple of pins here. They go into these holes. What's supposed to make this thing solid? So it looks like the whole circuit board is just floating, except for it's pinned back here to support it at the back. But otherwise, it's not on the bottom here. And so we can see what they've done to try to stiffen it. I can see what they tried doing here. Sorry, there I kind of whacked my mouth. So they have these brackets coming over, grabbing onto this top part. Are things loose? Is that what's happened? It's not loose. It's just really, really flimsy. So, oh my God, that's just horrible. Oh, wait a minute. What's this post here? It's a post here. You know what? There's a... He says, I have to use the other camera on this to really get a good shot of it. But so this plastic post comes out, meets up with the capacitor, and there's a hole there. Ain't no screw in it. How in heaven's name do you screw into that? These are fixed and they're right in the way. That's got to be what that piece is for, though, to steady this thing up. Yeah, maybe I'll try shoving some glue down here when we're all done. Try to freeze it up that way. Okay, how about the general condition of the radio now? So I see the antenna back here. Two wires. One to the frame, one to capacitor there. There's another soldered terminal here with nothing on it. Now why would somebody hook up what looks like an external antenna to the frame when this is sitting right here? That's screaming antenna, isn't it? Well, I don't know. Mysteries. So, not a lot of parts in this radio, that's for sure. Capacitor's way down here, molded one, big high wattage resistor there. Oh, here's some of the evil that could be in here. A package, this thing. So in there is going to be some tiny capacitors and resistors. And that's usually in the detector circuit. And from a radio manufacturing point of view, this swallows up 4 or 5 components, maybe more, 5 or 6 components right in here. Shrink the radio, save the money. These things, this one looks great, it looks great, but a lot of these fail. And then you have to try to do something, bypass, there's something you got to do. So nothing terrible here. Here's the filter capacitor. So what do we have for tubes? 50C5, 12AV, 12BA, and a 12BE. So that's your typical, and the rectifier is the 35W4. All the tubes are there. And we'll look underneath. Try to get a feel for the age or mileage on this radio by looking at, is anything darkened? You can see it's darkened around here. And that tube is the output tube. All by its lonesome over there. The other hot tube would be the rectifier tube. So these don't look like they've been overheated. This looks a little like it's been a little warm. All in all, not bad. Looking for evidence of corrosion on the traces or any monkey business. Somebody's fooled around with it. Doesn't look like it. Components located on the bottom. Sometimes they'll put in one component down here. Or jumper wires, but everything looks really good. A little bit of corrosion on the right there, maybe a little wee bit. Looks good. Any reason not to turn this radio on at this point? Not really. Provided you can do it in some safe manner. Now I've got to. Gotta get a cord, get an interlock cord. Don't think that's gonna work. Oh yeah, that'll do it. So we'll use this. This is my bucket of weird cords. Okay. Now I have to explain this because this is my first video for this radio, and you might be this might be the first time you've viewed one of my videos. You must realize by now it's pretty casual. I'm doing everything essentially live, although it's being recorded, of course. I figure out what I'm doing next just before I do it. So what I have in my shop to keep myself safe is a couple of things, which I won't explain in detail. But one of them is when I'm plugging into here, it's not actually going right into an outlet. It's going to a transformer. And what I'm doing there is I'm bringing kind of a separate supply, if you like, onto my bench, just here, just on this. This is just an extension cord here, going down to the transformer. So although this is a three-prong plug, there is no ground here. This is not going anywhere. And that's the whole idea. There's no relationship between the power system, neutral or ground circuit, and what's going on my bench here. All this equipment is plugged into the wall normally, more or less normally. So the story is quite different with all this stuff. It makes for complications I talk about while I'm working on it. But this isn't going into a regular outlet. I wouldn't do that. And what is special about that outlet, I use the so high-tech dim bulb system, which I personally, I really like this way of doing things. So the power can get to this outlet from my transformer, and on the way go through these light bulbs if I wish it to. And what that does is just like putting a little resistor in the supply circuit to cut down the amount of voltage that's going to get to the radio. The real objective, though, is to be prepared for a dead short in the radio. That, for all I know, somebody fiddled around with this cord or something down. I don't know everything. For all I know, this is a dead short, and when I first plug it in, if it is, I don't want to be dependent on my house breaker or my house fuse. In this house, I have breakers. I don't want to interfere with my wife's life by blacking out the lights every time I plug a radio in. So that's what this is really about. If there is a complete dead short in here, then these lights will come on totally normal. In fact, I'm only going to operate one bulb. This one's actually screwed out. So all the power that gets to the radio is going to go through this bulb. If this was a bigger radio, this bulb would light up. It probably won't even light up. We can't be sure yet. But this doesn't draw much power. So that's what's going on here. That's why I'm willing to turn this on without doing any more testing, because I know I've got control of the amount of power that's available to it. And I've protected myself, my shop, my house, everything. Switch off. Make sure or find out if the on-off switch works. So this big wheel actually sitting inside here, it holds it up. Is that on purpose? Is that what they wanted? The big wheel to hold? No, I can't imagine that. Who's going to sell this radio in a store, and the guy's going to go up, oh, let me hear it. You're going to go, I'm not buying this radio. It's coming apart. There must have been something more to what they were trying to do here that is missing. Okay, so we're plugged in. Just a little more explanation here. I have this really fancy control panel with 2 switches on it. You'll hear these switches being operated just before the power comes on. You'll hear the clicks of them, like this. This switch turns the power on. This switch directs the power either through the light bulb to the outlet or straight to the outlet, skip the light bulb. So when I flip this down, which I'm going to do in a second, this will come on. Now this box here, you're probably familiar with these things. These are useful boxes. It's just a power analyzer, so you plug an appliance in here and plug it in the wall, and then you can read how much power and stuff like that. It's really handy in here. So this will show us the voltage at the plug, and it'll also tell us, if we're interested, watts being drawn and all that kind of stuff. Did I bump my camera there or something? Oh, that's right. We were looking at those switches. Okay, switch is off. I'm going to throw the supply switch through the dim bulb. Good. Nothing's happened. The voltage it's reporting here is 123. That's going to be full line voltage because there's no drop. When I turn on the radio, what should happen is this should drop a little bit. This might start glowing just a little bit, but we probably won't see it. Probably what's going to happen, almost the entire line voltage is going to show up at this radio, even though it's got a light in series. I'm ready. And now also, the radio is going to come on. So if the filter capacitors are shot, it's just going to like crazy. Who knows what it's going to do. So I'm not going to let go of the on-off. I'm going to hang on to it. Here we go. Okay, so small glow there. I don't know if you saw it. 105 volts here and coming up. Everything's normal. In a radio like this, if one tube has an open filament, nothing works. Here comes a hum. Okay, that's enough. That's enough for the first test. So we learned an awful lot doing that. main thing is it needs some work. But we learned a lot of things there. The tubes are all operating. There must be B plus going in the radio for us to hear anything coming out of the speaker. Amplifier must be amplifying a little bit for us to hear stuff. When I turned the dial, I was trying to hear if there was any radio stuff sneaking through past the hum. I couldn't really hear it, but it's probably there. So our first challenge is to get rid of the hum in this radio. First challenge. And the reason it's a little challenging is there isn't a lot of working space in a radio like this. The wiring is not discrete. You can't, learn. It's all under here. Occasionally you can do some tricky stuff and stick components under here yourself. And there's enough room to allow that, but I'm not sure that's the case for this radio. Maybe. I think it might be good for me to take a look for the schematic too, for this guy, before we get too far along. That's what I'm going to do next. Let's take a look for the schematic. Okay, I got a copy of the schematic here. I'm going to point out a note on it right away. Look right over here. To remove chassis for servicing tubes, loosen these screws until held only by last threads, then push against the screws with thumbs. Remove screws after chassis slides forward. So it doesn't say sit on floor cross-legged, put radio between knees. It doesn't say that. So okay, now I should have got the schematic first. And what do we got here that's special? What is special? Is there anything special here? It's a bit of an unusual connection right there. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Yeah, the center tap here is generally for a light bulb. There's no light bulb in this radio. I think they just leave that open, but they found and tied it to the plate, which goes over my head. Filter here. So this filter capacitor is what's causing the hum. It's got to go. And what is it comprised of? It looks like a two-part. Guy, is there a third part bypassing this resistor? I don't think so. I don't see it. So all the filtering is here. Looks like two 50 microfarad capacitors with a 1200 resistor in between to make the pi filter network here. They've heavied up this particular line on the schematic, so this is an important line, and I think it's just the B plus line. Is it? No. Yes, wow. Yeah, I think so. This is the second filter down to the line. First filter, feeding plate. Yeah, okay. So this is the B plus. No, it's not. This is the B minus, Jim. So I don't know what is this. This is mysterious. Oh, it comes down to here. Runs along here. Okay, not so mysterious. Let's start at the front end here. Ferrite rod, which we saw. Trimmer capacitors for the tuning. Where's the bottom view of what? Oscillator coil? Green dot bottom view of this. Where's? Oh, this must be it right here. Yeah, L2. So that's the oscillator coil. Oscillators feeding grid 1. The signal brought in on grid 3. Which is typical. Nothing too funny going on here. Through the two IFs with a 12BA6 amplifier detector. So they've done something a little different here. They've got Got one diode. Oh, it's just shorted out. Yeah, one diode shorted out. So they're relying on this diode because they don't want to leave it hanging open in there, I guess. One diode. So audio would be here. Wow, not much filtering. Yeah, one meg to the high impedance part over here. No, usually there's a small capacitor in here somewhere. Well, oh, what's this? So that's the package. These are usually the component. Oh, here it is right here. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, there's the actual word for it. Couplet. That's the official word for these little things I call packages. A couplet. Because I'm sure if I used the word couplet, everyone would say, couplet? What's that? I'd say it's this package. So inside the package is this stuff. Hopefully it's okay. It may not be. We may have to do something external here, which can be done in some cases. Hopefully this is good though. We'll know by doing some testing, like for instance the grid voltage here. Cathode resistor there, not bypassed. There's nothing particularly spectacular in this radio. It's all very, very straightforward and very, very few components. Any other special notes I should catch up on? What's all this down here? They're showing, these are jumpers, are they? What is all that? There are piles of jumpers on the back here? No. The radio's got no jumpers on the back. So these are on the front. These are on the front. The top. Oh, the top. Yes, all over the place. Jumpers everywhere. So that's what that's showing. Jumpers and components. Component layout. Component number. Good. What do we got here? Notes. IF455. Etched circuit board, I think it says. All voltages measured. No signal input. All capacitors are in something. All resistors are half watt, 10% unless otherwise said. Am I missing any little sneaky note here? What about down here? Top view of chassis showing tube and alignment points. And what are they? The alignment points amount to on the capacitor and on the IF cans. A very simple radio. Not much to it. Bottom view of edge circuit board. Gray area represents black symbols and lines. So I gotta stop at this point and deal with my overcrowded computer here. So here's what I got out of the radio. 50 and 30 150s, and I'm going to made in USA. I'm going to take 250s. I'm just going to use 250s, and I'm soldering the negatives together, and I'm going to arrange it basically in the same sort of tripod shape here. the -1 is A. It's very kind of them to put those letters right up by the holes. The other two don't matter because they're the same. So A. Okay, got that soldered in. Let's give this radio another try. Off. Power. Dim lights. This one. Okay. That's good. Trying for 680. There's something. Sports? Sports. Sports, and we're on right around 590. Perfect. Ooh. Let's take care of this right now. Okay. Ooh. Ooh, what's that? That's some other stuff happening here. You know what I haven't done yet? I haven't done the tube wiggle. Power off. I have not done the tube wiggle. Okay. Look at the spray. Well, it's off. So I'm looking for a gap I can spray in, and how to get gravity on my side. How nice it is to have such a tiny little radio. Right in here. Bit. Okay, switch off. Put the power back on. Switch on. Fixed. Let me help the radio out a little bit here. I have an external antenna. I won't hook it up directly, but indirectly I can help this guy out. Wow, a lot of these radios are really shrill, I find. So this just leads to an outdoor antenna, and I'm just hooking it up to a loop. I put it near this radio's antenna. Isn't very helpful. So unfortunately, on that antenna is this interference that you hear now. You'll just have to put up with it a little bit.
On this province-wide teacher strike that is going on today.
It's kind of surprising it picks these two stations up really well, especially this one, but it doesn't pick up the 590 station very well. That's kind of funny. Okay, so it picks up 740. This is pretty good radio. Okay, so that's the comedy station. That's the French. Oh, lovely. So what we're going to do with this plane is we're going to just fiddle around a little bit with the IF tuning. And the objective here is just to find out if this is right on or not. It probably is. Now, I'm going to be prepared to return it to where it comes from. Not with this. It's got a very, very wide slot. Okay, there we go. Doesn't want to move. Weaker. Back where it was. I don't normally do just fiddle around like that, but I don't think it's going to get any better. So and it's accurate on the dial. The last thing is the antenna adjustment here. Let me weaken this a little bit.
De reconnecter avec leur rapport aux traditions. Mais évidemment, il faut qu'ils réapprennent la langue, qu'ils réapprennent les savoir-faire, qu'ils réapprennent leur...
It's looking for more capacitance than is here. So I think the way to deal with this, the easy way to deal with this, tune the radio, forsake the accuracy of the dial, set the radio so that this is within range. It's not within range right now. You also have to get a bigger screwdriver and push this to find a peak. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, there's a peak right there. It's a pretty hot radio now. Grab the 820.
To go in and sit with the teacher and talk about their marks. 3 teachers want. Yeah, the story. There's one. All the perfect players. You also get.
she's good. That's it. That's all I'm going to do to this guy except clean him up. I'm going to clean him up, make him look nicer, but I just can't see that there's anything more I can really do with this that would be worth doing. Great. Super. I'm going to clean him up. Okay, here it is all back together again and ready for another test. So let's give it a shot. Cleaned up pretty nice. Camera's not revealing all the marks that are up here. If I just tip this up, so the marks there. Okay. I like that static.
Donc, vous avez parlé un petit peu plus tôt de votre identité canadienne, congolaise, francophone, noire. C'est le mois février, c'est le mois de l'histoire des Noirs au Canada. Est-ce que c'est un mois qui est important pour vous?
Absolument.
Pourquoi?
C'est quand on peut se célébrer.
Vegetarian toppings. Ciao, I'm Dominic Primucci and I'm...
You know, you've got numerous community after community getting targeted and hit at the municipal level, paying out the ransoms either on their own or with help of insurance.
There's significant sensitivity among our group and excitement on part of
Great. It's got lots of volume. Sounds good. Receive stuff. There you go. Kind of a cool looking radio now that it's all cleaned up and it's actually in really pretty good shape. Fantastic. Well, thanks a lot for watching that, and that was just about the easiest radio I've ever done, I think. Thanks. I'll see you on the next my next video series.